Okay, hands up, who's tired of being gaslit? Hello good friends, how's it going? It's been a while, which unfortunately isn't anything new. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a new camera, which is exciting. But I've had quite the few months, which I would like to talk to you guys about. It is no surprise that when you have a chronic illness, you tend to get gaslit quite a lot by doctors. For those who don't know what gaslighting is, it's basically where a doctor undermines you and makes you think that you're going crazy and that everything that you are experiencing is just all in your head. Yeah, nice. I got to see a special doctor recently who I was actually really looking forward to seeing, because the past year or so I have mentioned on this channel that doctors have suspected for a long time that I have something called POTS, which goes along with EDS. It's super common, the two side by side. POTS stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is basically when the body stands up, changes position, it can't pump the blood quick enough around your body, which increases your heart rate and you get dizzy and nauseous, and some people pass out. And I have been quite symptomatic with it. I saw a doctor down in London who is a specialist with gastric stuff in EDS, and he did something called a poor man's tilt test on me, which is basically where you stand up and he would record how many beats my heart rate went up. And he told me there and then, I'm sure you've got POTS. He sent me to see his protege, which was closer to my home, and he also said that he was convinced I had POTS. So we thought it would be best for me to get this diagnosis properly confirmed. It is already on my records. We just thought it would be better to have it medically confirmed, and then they can look at treating it, because even though you can't cure it, you can treat it with medications, diet changes, with the right supervision and help. Which is, I was given the choice of several different cardiologists to go and see. Now unfortunately, a lot of cardiologists just don't have the time for POTS. They don't either believe in it, they just don't see it as a cardiac problem. Finding a doctor that was going to take me seriously in the first place was going to be a bit of a challenge. I have been going to see a gastric specialist at a hospital about an hour from where I live, and he's been amazing. He's done every test under the sun. He's ruled out lots of scary, frightening illnesses that could be wrong with my bowel. So I was really happy with my treatment with him, and I thought, well, I might as well just keep it at the same hospital, because then they can transfer notes, they can see all the things going on in my situation and communicate better, because a lot of hospitals in the UK just don't communicate. So every single new specialist I go see, I have to take all my notes with me, and I have to take all my specialist letters and start the story from the beginning, and my story's quite long. The referral took a long time to come through before I actually saw the doctor. And I went to see him and he said, yes, it sounds like you have POTS. He was a bit brash when I saw him. He was a bit blunt and to the point, which, whilst I appreciate in the terms of not skirting around the problem and around the issue, it doesn't hurt to have a bit of bedside manner. So he said, okay, we'll do some testing. We will do an echocardiogram, which structurally looks at the heart and sees if there are any mechanical issues going on. Some EDS patients have something called a mitral valve prolapse, which actually normal healthy people can have as well. Doesn't necessarily mean there's an issue with your heart, it just means that sometimes the blood flow leaks back inside the valve. Doesn't often cause issues, but in EDS patients they like to just monitor it a little bit, which is fair enough. It's okay, it's fine. And he said we will do a tilt test. Oh boy, the famous tilt test. A tilt test is generally the best way of diagnosing POTS, so they can do it with a poor man's tilt test, which I told you about, and that involves strapping you to a table and tilting you forward and keeping you stood upright, and they just watch what happens.
Okay, I'm getting dizzy, I can't see, and I'm gonna pass out.
Now the test itself is meant to run in two parts, depending on how you get on, whether you're symptomatic or not. So the first half of the test, they strap you to the table and they monitor you and watch if you pass out yourself, or if your heart rate gets very high, or if you get symptomatic. If you don't get symptomatic, they can give you a drug. I think it sprays under your tongue, and this can induce symptoms, fainting, etc. I didn't get that far, so I probably got about 10 minutes into my till test. I was starting to feel very sick. My hands had pins and needles in. I was a bit sweaty. I knew my heart rate was up because they kept telling me my heart rate was up. And they kept pushing me. They kept saying, do you want to come down? Are you ready to come down? You don't look well. Want to come down? And I probably said to them about 3 times, no, it's fine, because I really wanted to get a good reading on this. And then maybe on the 4th time they said, are you ready to come down now? Should we bring you down? I said, yeah, okay, let's bring me down now. I asked them there and then, I said, do you think this is going to show what we're expecting to see? And they said, yeah, I would imagine so, yeah. And then I got an appointment through and I thought, great, this is it. We're going to finally get some answers. I don't like telling the doctor how to do his job. I pour drinks for a living. I wouldn't expect you to tell me how to pour a pint. But if that pint was flat and shit, then I would expect you to tell me. He goes through the echocardiogram results and he says that everything was fine structurally, which I was really pleased about. And to be honest, I was expecting, because apart from a little bit of pain here and there, like, I've never had any sort of really bad issues with my heart. Whenever I've had ECGs, they always come back perfectly normal, spanking great, clean, whatever. So I was thrilled. And then he decides to go through the POTS results with me for the tilt test. Wow. So he told me that they monitored my blood pressure, which is normal in a tilt test, and they monitored my heart rate. My heart rate was very high. It was a little bit higher than normal that day because I was actually feeling very unwell anyway. I felt a bit sick, which is normal because I have gastric problems. It's not because I was nervous about the test. I have gastric problems. I feel sick pretty much 100% of the time anyway. So he told me that my blood pressure did not drop and my heart rate was high, and that because my blood pressure did not drop, that meant that I did not have POTS. Nowhere does it say that your blood pressure has to drop. Nowhere. Not a single place. POTS is defined by an increase of your heart rate of more than 30 beats a minute upon standing. There is another condition called orthostatic hypertension, which I believe this doctor is confusing himself with, which is bizarre because he is a cardiologist and surely he should know this. So orthostatic hypertension is where your blood pressure and your heart rate simultaneously drop, and obviously you're going to pass out, aren't you, if you've got no blood flowing at all. And I asked people on the POTS page, I was like, this doctor is telling me that my blood pressure didn't drop and therefore I don't have POTS. And they were like, you all should get a new doctor. So he basically tried to pass off my high heart rate as being anxious about the test. Boy, I must just live in constant anxiety, dude, because this is what I deal with on a daily basis. He then went on to tell me that I clearly wasn't drinking enough water, that I should put salt on my food, and then told me, well, you can try the POTS medication. So you told me that I don't have POTS, but try the medication if you want. I'm sorry, what kind of medical school did you go to? I don't know if anyone has angry cried. It's a very strange emotion to feel. I think the reason I was so angry about it was because I've been through this a lot. Many times before, actually. I saw a doctor at the beginning that I categorically did not have EDS, that I was basically imagining it, that I had minimal bruising or something like that. And then basically I was just a hypochondriac, and then obviously I got my diagnosis. I saw a doctor who told me I should cut myself to help with pain. I had a doctor basically tell me I was too young to be sick, that all the pain was in my head. This is a very common problem that not just young people with disabilities have to face. Anybody with a chronic condition probably have this at some point, and the best way I describe it is that a lot of doctors just see you as a case note and they don't see you as a human being with feelings and struggling and being in insane, crippling amounts of pain, and therefore they just don't care. I understand a lot of doctors have to desensitize themselves and not get themselves emotionally involved with patients, but it doesn't hurt, like I said, to have some sort of bedside manner. So I came out of that appointment feeling super confused. Actually, this doctor doesn't know what he's talking about, which is shocking, to be honest. And worrying for other patients, because part of getting a diagnosis is that validation and reassurance that what you are experiencing is very real, and that they believe you, and they might not necessarily know how to cure it or fix it, but they want to try and help you on this journey. And this dude definitely made me feel like I was crazy, that it was all in my head. The fact that he tried to pass my high heart rate off as anxiety is just absolute bullshit. His story's down below, because I know that I'm not the only one who's had this experience, and I won't be the only one in the future with this experience, so please, like, make me feel better about it. Like, comment down below. I know you guys haven't seen my pretty face in a while. I've actually started my own business, but more about that later. Yeah, I just thought I'd come on and share this story with you and let you know that I'm still alive. How, when I have these sort of doctors, who knows? Miss you guys, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you really, really soon. Bye!
Where do we go